So the top 10 players in the PLL right now, starting with an honorable mention, Riorden. The Chaos goalie was ranked the #1 player in the world last year, and this year he's following it up with a great season, saving the ball at 55%. He plays his angles extremely well and makes the goalie position look easy. He's also a total commander on the field, and without him, the Chaos defense wouldn't be nearly as good. Unfortunately, right now, I don't think you can put him in the top 10, as he's number 3 in save percentage behind Atlas goalie Jack Kincannon and Whipsnakes goalie Kyle Berhlohr. But if the Chaos make a deep run into the playoffs this year, it will definitely be because of Blaze, and he could easily make the top 10. My next honorable mention is Ament. The man's been hurt for most of the season and has only played 4 games at the time of making this video. But when he's on the field, he's still one of the best players in the world, and he's averaging 2.5 points per game on pretty much one leg. You can easily put him up there with the best passer in the world, and the Archers offense needs him to take command even more if they want to win a PLL championship. He's the complete dual threat. He can pass it as well as anyone, but he's not afraid to get around his defender and score. This leads me to my next honorable mention, Whipsnakes attackman Zed Williams. Zed joined a bit late from the NLL box season, so his total point numbers aren't quite up there with many of the other folks on this list, but he's averaging around 3 points per game, and he just put up 4 and 5 points in his last 2 games respectively. When Zed Williams gets hot, you can make an argument that he's the toughest cover in the entire league. He's simply too strong, too physical, and too much of a force. He can shoot from pretty much anywhere on the field, and somehow it finds a way to go in. By the end of the season, I'm expecting Zed to definitely land in this top 10 list. And my last honorable mention is Whipsnakes goalie Kyle Berhlohr. He leads the league in save percentage with 59%. This is really impressive because last year he had a down season, only saving the ball 48%. To come back and be this confident and lead the league is actually insane. If you're a PLL fan, you know how dominant the Whipsnakes are, and he's a very big reason for this. Now let's go with the top 10, starting with number 10, Michael Earhart and LSM for the Whipsnakes. Now this shouldn't be any surprise if you're a PLL fan. Michael Earhart is a staple of this league. At 6'5", 220 pounds, Earhart uses his physical gifts to absolutely shut down lacrosse players all over the field. But he's not just big and physical, this guy can move extremely fast and make plays. He's electric off the ground, usually picking up 3 to 5 ground balls a game, no questions asked. And he's also an incredible cover man. He's usually guarding the other team's best midfielders, so that's guys like Tom Schreiber, Miles Jones, and Brian Costabile. That's an insanely tough job, but somehow he delivers every single week. He's also a threat from 2-point range and is due for 2 or 3 2-point goals a year, which makes him extremely dangerous in transition. He also has 3 assists, so don't knock him as an LSM without stick skills. Long story short, Michael Earhart is one of the most complete players in the PLL, and I think he could easily go down as one of the greatest LSMs of all time when it's all said and done. And that's just number 10. Next up at number 9, we have attackman Matt Rambo, another player for the Whipsnakes. Matt Rambo is a household name in lacrosse at this point, and he's been named the best player in the world before. Physicality is the name of the game for Rambo, and at 5'10", 210 pounds, there's not a defender in the league that can completely lock him down. He uses his size to lean on defenders and pounce when they give him a single inch of room. But he doesn't just play bully ball. Rambo is extremely methodical and has one of the highest lacrosse IQs in the league. He plays a lot like a post in basketball. He leans in and uses his awareness to do a quick inside roll or go top side. For a pretty big guy, he also has this underrated speed about him that I don't think we give him much credit for sometimes. This guy can move and use his footwork to speed by some of the world's very best. He's number 9 on my list and also number 9 in the league in points. I'd honestly think he'd be higher in these rankings if he was more aggressive, but he's perfectly content with letting his other teammates shine and not hogging the ball too much. That says a lot for a player, and I think that's why he's one of the most celebrated players in the league. And by the way, I'm making an exclusive community of lacrosse players called Lax Now. We'll have our own group chat, weekly film breakdowns, and college and pro player Q&A sessions. So if you want to be on the waitlist for Lax Now, go check out the link in the description or just go to laxnow.co. Now let's get back to the video. And next up at number 8, we have another name you probably know, Pannell. The Redwoods attackman is having an incredible year, leading the entire league in assists with 21 and being top 5 in the league in points with 33. Numbers don't lie, and Pannell is putting up some fantastic numbers this year. When you look at Rob's game, you don't ask what can he do, you ask what can't he do. He's one of the most lethal players at X, blowing by defenders with a quick low angle shot or being patient at the island and doing a question mark or a rocker step. He also has his head up at all times, so if you play him too hard, he's just gonna pick you apart and find his open teammates. He's also no slouch at shooting either, and has an underrated outside shot that can be as good as anyone. When Rob is at the top of his game, he's easily a top 5 player in the world. I wouldn't be surprised if he climbs this list by the end of the season. And coming in hot at number 7, we have Josh Byrne, the Canadian attackman for the Chaos. He's another late addition to the season after playing in the NLL, but boy has he found a hot streak in the PLL this year. He's scored at least 4 points in 4 out of his last 5 games, and he's one of the toughest covers out there. I guarantee you no defender wants to cover this guy. Byrne passes the eye test with flying colors. He's incredibly explosive, getting to whatever spot on the field he wants to with his quick feet. When he's found a spot, he has a cannon of an outside shot that he uncorks before you even realize what happened. He's also not afraid to lean into you, using his 6'3", 200-pound frame to move you around if he needs to. But just like any Canadian, Byrne can straight up finish the ball, and he's an excellent off-ball player, cutting to open space and using plenty of head and shoulder fakes to make any goalie look silly. Byrne is a guy I get more impressed with every single year, and I don't think he's getting off this list anytime soon. And next up at number 6, we have Zach Currier, a midfielder from the Water Dogs. This man is a Swiss Army knife. He can take face-offs if you need him to, he's a ground ball vacuum from the wings, and he is an incredible short stick D-midi. Then when you think he's tired from defense, he'll casually take it down the full length of the field and all of a sudden become one of the most dangerous offensive players in the world. He's so shifty underneath and scores at impossible angles, even sometimes behind the cage. Using his Canadian box style shooting, he uses his head, shoulders, and eyes to move goalies and find open space. He also has an incredible motor that very few other players in the league have. It's like he plays 100% of the game and somehow goes full speed the entire time. He never gets tired no matter what you throw at him. He's one of those guys that's difficult to quantify in stats, but he's easily a top 10 player in the world. And now with our top 5, starting with number 5, JT Giles-Harris, a defender from the Chrome Lacrosse Club. For pretty much anyone you talk to, Giles-Harris is considered to be the best defender in the PLL, and he's made a very strong case after holding Lyle Thompson to only 3 points in the Chrome's matchup versus the Cannon. At 5'10", 200 pounds, Giles-Harris has the perfect frame to be quick and rangy, but also tough and physical when he needs to be. I mean, he's in charge of covering every opposing team's best attackman, and he's delivered on every front. And the crazy thing is, he's only getting started in the PLL, and he's only going to get better from here. When it's all said and done, I think that JT has the potential to be one of the all-time great defenders. So that leads us to number 4, Trevor Baptiste from the Atlas Lacrosse Club. The face-off man has been on an absolute tear this season, facing off at a ridiculous 70% margin against the best face-off guys in the world. He's also a total threat on offense. He has 10 points, which includes a 2-point goal. 10 points is more than plenty of great offensive players that you've heard of, and he's doing it while barely stepping into the offensive side of the field. To put up a 70% face-off percentage in one game is impressive. To do it over an entire season is insane. Baptiste is solidifying himself as one of the all-time greats. Now here we go, top 3 with number 3, Tom Schreiber, a midfielder for the Archers. Schreiber is a familiar face in the top 3 spots, ranking number 2 in 2021 and number 1 in 2020. It's easy to see why Tom is ranked so high. There's pretty much nothing he can't do at the midfield position. He's incredibly shifty and deceptive, so he can pretty much get around anyone in his way. But what's more impressive is his shooting ability. It seems like he can release the ball from any angle. Overhand, sidearm, underhand, it doesn't matter. And he can tuck the ball in any corner no matter how many defenders are draped all over him. At times, Schreiber plays like he's the number 1 player on the field without a question. But my only knock on him is his aggressiveness. He's almost too unselfish with the ball sometimes. You almost wish he was a little bit more of a ball hog and took a few bad shots if it meant he got more touches. But no matter what, Schreiber has all the talent in the world to be a top 3 player. And don't be surprised if he's number 1 by the end of the season. And next at number 2, we have Jeff Teat from the Atlas Lacrosse Club. Jeff has been a household name in lacrosse for so many years after being a top-ranked high school recruit and a Chwarton Trophy nominee at Cornell. After a 2-year break from lacrosse because of COVID and then the Ivy League, Jeff has hit the ground running in the PLL and won Rookie of the Year last year, and he hasn't looked back since. He currently sits at number 2 in the entire league in points with 35, which includes 20 goals and 15 assists. If you play him as a passer, he'll score on you. If you play him too much and tight like a scorer, he'll pick you apart all day. The crazy thing is that Jeff Teat makes the game look so darn effortless. It doesn't even look like he's sprinting half the time. He's not fazed by any defender thrown his way, and he's clearly proven that he can play with the best of them. I mean, it blows my mind that a guy this young is considered one of the best players in the world, but that is the magic of Jeff Teat. And drum roll please, at number 1 we have Lyle Thompson from the Cannons Lacrosse Club. This should be no surprise, Lyle is putting on an absolute show this summer. He's good for 39 points, the most of anyone in the entire league. When Lyle's at his best, there's not a human on the planet that can do what he does with a lacrosse stick, and it's truly just magical to watch. Whether it's a backhanded goal, a crazy low to high riser, or some play that I don't even have words for, Lyle Thompson simply does it all. So comment down below, what do you think of this list? And what video do you want to see next? I'm Jake with Lax Weekly. Make sure you go check out Lax now, and I'll see you next time.